But nonetheless, happy Friday, and thank you for stopping in for this Friday afternoon's closing bell brought to you by East Coast Sports Investors. So far, to start things off, going to be solo today, depending on how long we go, maybe joined by Mr. Jeff Dawson. But wanted to pop in and get things going for this fine Friday evening. Mostly just actually 100% as far as what we're going to be talking about for tonight's slate. Talking baseball. As far as some recaps, probably chatting a little bit about what went down yesterday, baseball, NBA draft, and elsewhere. But nonetheless, thank you, Connor, for stopping by as always. Happy to be here on Friday. If I'm short and sweet and solo, then we'll get out of here pretty quick. But pretty big baseball slate. Obviously, it is Friday, as we always say. Jeff always says, "Don't be the pizza man." And there are some goofy lines and lopsided spots there, potentially some trap spots there that we'll talk about. But at the end of the day, it should be a fun evening and heading into the weekend. Solid sports action. I mentioned recap. As far as recap, we obviously maybe not so much recap as far as baseball is concerned. MLB, I should say, but college baseball World Series game last night. If you didn't see it, you missed out. 0-0 heading into the bottom of the bottom of the 11th between Wake Forest and LSU, and a walk-off homer there. One of the better baseball games I've seen in a long time. So you missed out if you missed that one. I've been having a ton of fun watching the College Baseball World Series. Now you've got Florida and LSU starting tomorrow, I believe, best 2 out of 3 for the actual championship there. And I know Jeff and Matt Grissom talked this afternoon as far as that series and what's been going down up to this point. So if you are looking for some talk as far as the College World Series, go back and look at East Coast Sports Investors afternoon show from today between with those guys. So I'm sure it was fantastic. But nonetheless, aside from that, while that was going on, you obviously had NBA draft. Congrats to anybody that had some good action. Congrats to anybody that took the advantage of the flip around between the 2 and the 3 pick with Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson there. A lot of differing stuff, similar to last year with Paolo Banchero in the first pick there. And then at the end of the day, if you had Brandon Miller at the right point, you caught some nice plus money there. And now brings up the conversation. Nothing happened quite yet last night, and not sure what will happen. But obviously, the surface stories is, Wembanyama goes number 1. What's his impact going to be? What's Brandon Miller going to do in the Charlotte lineup mixed with LaMelo Ball and everyone else? But now, obviously, the lasting conversation, at least throughout the offseason, is probably going to be what's going on in Portland with Damian Lillard. Are they going to try and add some pieces on top of, obviously, last night's pick, or are they going to move away from Damian Lillard and usher in a new era, which obviously I can see both sides of it. I'm a massive Damian Lillard fan. If they feel like at the end of the day it's a situation where their hands are kind of tied as far as building a championship contender, then they'll probably keep packing the houses with their beloved son and Damian Lillard. If they think they have a chance of building something special and moving on from him and acquiring a nice package in accordance with that, and obviously building around Scoot Henderson, then maybe they do that. But still to be seen. I honestly kind of go back and forth with it. I think they should probably, if we're talking about the best ways to build a championship. Obviously, we've had, I don't even know at this point, almost 10 years worth of saying the Portland Trail Blazers, need to add more around Damian Lillard, and they've done a little bit here and there, but when they do add a little bit, their depth typically falters. So they've kind of just been banging their heads against their wall for the last 8-9 years. And I don't know that that's going to change unless they've got something serious up their sleeve. Trading that 3 pick would have been, a nice start if that's what they were going to do as far as put somebody else next to Damian Lillard. So I would not be shocked if he's on his way out, if they've got something brewing in the works here these next few weeks. But we'll see. Maybe they roll the dice and keep, a talented backcourt in those two guys, and maybe Damian Lillard sticks around for another year or two. So aside from that, obviously the Thompson twins going 4-5 is pretty historic. Those two guys going 4-5, and then a little less fireworks than some past drafts. Not as many. A lot of guys that the average basketball fan that watches college basketball that usually watches this draft, you didn't see as many name-worthy guys that because you had a lot of overtime elite guys, G League Ignite guys. So another reminder that maybe that's if you're a huge basketball fan and you felt a little left out last night, maybe you want to tune into some of those competitions and games going forward. So interesting wrinkle as far as that is concerned. But that was a fun one. And then obviously the only thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I didn't dive too much into it this week, but grabbing my popcorn for it a little bit, is the Travelers Championship. Denny McCarthy, another nice day after a really, really good round yesterday. He is in first at 15 under. Keegan Bradley's still going, though. Has a handful of holes left, 2 shots back. But we've got some nice names in the mix there, so it should be a fun weekend in Travelers. But without further ado, let's jump on over to the baseball slate tonight. As I mentioned, I believe it's a 100% full baseball slate. Everybody in action tonight. Nothing going on yet. I think that's a little goofy. I think every day should at least, especially a Friday afternoon in the summer, should have at least one day baseball game going on. But I digress. We've got a handful coming up in a couple of hours, starting up at the 5:40 my time, 6:40 East Coast time. Braves and Reds is the first one up. I mentioned this guy, Smith Shawver, was scheduled to pitch earlier this week, but now he has been moved to tonight between Atlanta and Cincinnati. 11-game win streak for the Cincinnati Reds, 8-game win streak from the Atlanta Braves. I just before I came on, if you're listening, Mr. Lucky, I saw your tweets. It is a sold-out show tonight between the Reds and the Braves. If you told me anybody that last year or even the start of this year, but especially last year, that we were going to have a sold-out show and the Reds are on an 11-game win streak, I don't know that anybody would have believed you, but as a lot of people have mentioned, and I know a lot of people in these ECI spaces are believers in this Reds team going forward, but it's obviously a little bit of a surprise to have them playing this well here tonight. But Smith Shawver for the Atlanta Braves, Weaver tonight for the Reds, 10 hits, 5 earned runs last time out. So this one is going to be an interesting one. You've got 2 either unproven pitchers or very young pitchers in Smith Shawver's case. So on paper, I can understand why obviously the Atlanta Braves are the favorite, 48-26, despite the Reds' 11-game win streak. They've got an 8-game win streak. And you've got Smith Shawver, who's looked solid through 3 starts or 3 outings. I don't know if his first outing was an official start or not. Definitely started the last 2. And he's been pretty good. Goose eggs the first couple times out. Each time out, hits going up a little bit and a little bit. You've got a total of 11 tonight. So kind of telling you that there might be some runs scored tonight. I don't know exactly where to go. I'm almost at a point where I'm interested in just grabbing my popcorn. And that number at 11, it's inflated, but at the end of the day, Weaver is not a guy that's going to be keeping me up at night as far as shutting my offense down by any means. He's given up 15 runs over 13 and a third this month. Somehow, some way, the Reds have managed to win all 3 of those games between the Dodgers, Royals, and Astros. Those last 2, however, were on the road. So Weaver is getting some home cooking tonight. He has had a couple better, a little bit more tread and water starts here at home. But this is it's a tricky spot against this Atlanta Braves lineup, obviously with an 8-game win streak. I'm not trying to get into either way here. If I'm doing anything, I'm grabbing my popcorn and I'm rooting for some runs here in an exciting atmosphere. Maybe at the end of the day, I kind of lean towards the Braves, but this price, it'll tell you. I'm not sure where to go with this one. A lot of people are, kind of just hopping on this bandwagon for the Reds here. So I'm going to grab my popcorn and hope for some runs in this one, and that's all I'm going to go with that one as far as that is concerned. But I think it's a great game to tune into with that atmosphere. It's not one that you're going to see a packed house in a smaller market like that for a team that's struggled a lot the last handful of years. So it's awesome to see. Good for them. I will definitely be tuning in here in a couple hours. So Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Kansas City 2-1 last 3, a little bit of a life these last few days. Beat the Rays yesterday 6-5. Tampa Bay 1-4 last 5. They're starting to hit some regression. Obviously, still a very, very good team, but the inevitable regression that even the best team would have. You've got Greinke and Eflin on the mound tonight. Greinke 8 hits, 4 earned runs last time out. Has not been fantastic. Had a handful of good starts earlier on in the season. Now is not shaky, but certainly not shutting anybody out these days. Eflin, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs last time out. He was pretty good last time out. And you've got a Tampa Bay team at home, minus 245. I don't know off the top of my head what their record at home is, but it is absolutely absurd. And obviously they're playing the Kansas City Royals. So this is, unless you're enamored with what you've been seeing from the Kansas City Royals team these last few days, we have seen some of these bad teams have a little bit more of a stretch in them, like the Oakland A's. Obviously, the A's, we'll get to in a second, are back on a losing streak, but they had a 6-7 game win streak or whatever it is. So some of these bad teams can still have some life into them. So I'm certainly staying away from as much as I would expect to bounce back from Tampa Bay. Because even during these losses, they've scored 4 runs, 6 runs, a 7-2 win, and then a 5-6 loss. So their offense isn't playing poorly right now. Their pitching staff this last week just hasn't been very good. If Eflin is good, then they're going to be in a great position to win this one. So I'm not jumping into the Rays again. If you're getting frisky and you're trying to spot this one of the rare hot spots of the Royals season, then that's the way you're going with that. I'm not touching this one with the 10-foot pole. With the way Tampa Bay's been playing these last few days, at the end of the day, and these odds are not really giving you much to work with here. So I am going to stay far away from it. And you honestly got to get plus money. The way to get plus money is -1.5 in the first 5 for Tampa Bay, which I'm not interested there. So I could even see Greinke being a little bit better and the Rays' offense coming down to earth a little bit tonight. So I'm going to stay far away from that one. And we'll move on to Pittsburgh and Miami. Kind of another train in a different sense here. Pittsburgh, 10-game losing streak right now, and Miami's 14-6 in their last 20 in the month of June here. Luzardo, who I've talked about as one of the guys that I enjoy, finding good spots and spots to fade him sometimes, and kind of a dark horse underdog pitcher a little bit, underrated pitcher, I should say. Going up against Ortiz for Pittsburgh, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned runs last time out. And now you're getting this Miami team -210, which when I was looking earlier, this was around, I think it opened -185. So kind of suggesting that this is going, it's obviously you've got Pittsburgh on this wretched losing streak right now after the great start that they had. They're falling back down through the floor, starting to slip down to the bottom of the NL Central, which I imagine a lot of people expected. And now you've got this Marlins team who's playing really, really well, and a guy in Luzardo who, if he's going really well. And obviously you can pick off some regression spots. It's not really a spot where he's had a handful of good starts in a row, so I kind of am leaning towards a good Luzardo start tonight. The time before last, he went 4 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. So he has been going back and forth a little bit these last 6 starts or so. Bad, good, bad, good, bad, good. So if you're playing that, then I could absolutely see it. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to get off of that and at least have a couple of good starts, and then we can talk about maybe another regression start looming on the horizon. So I'm going to lean towards a good Luzardo start, but the number has been inflated based on people hammering the Marlins, and obviously this Pittsburgh losing streak and this game being in Miami. So it is a little out of hand, a little inflated. I'm going to lean towards the under 7.5 on this one. I don't quite know what to expect out of Ortiz. I don't think he's going to get shelled by any means. Don't think he's going to be fantastic, but I do think Luzardo could be really good in this game here tonight. So I'm going to lean towards the under 7.5 if I had to do anything, but at the end of the day, I'll just go ahead and believe in Luzardo and take that for what it's worth. Moving on to, I think there's actually maybe 4 games here at this 5:40, 6:40 time. Minnesota and Detroit. Maeda and Wentz. I believe Maeda first start since April the 26th. So if you follow me, I don't like typically getting into those type of starts where a guy is coming off of the IL. Wentz doesn't have very good numbers this season. He's been better the last 2, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, but it was against the Minnesota Twins. So a mediocre pitcher having a good start against a team like Minnesota. Don't love his chances the next time out. Tigers are playing some good ball right now, though, this last week at least. 5-2 their last 7. Twins just took the last 2 from the Red Sox after a little bit of an ugly stretch from them. But at the end of the day, like I said, don't love a Maeda start like that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is one where definitely beware of quite a bit of public money on the Minnesota Twins tonight. I see about 70% of bets and money on the -130. So it seems a little easy, but obviously, Maeda is a little sketchy situation there as far as coming off the IL. So I don't want to lean towards Wentz and the Tigers with the way they've been playing. But at the end of the day, I'm not cannonballing into the deep end with this Twins team here tonight in Maeda. Would not shock me at all if he's not very good tonight. You got an 8.5, 9. So again, like I always do, typically in these IL first game off the IL starts, I'm going to back away for the most part there. But I would not be going cannonballing into the deep end with Maeda. If you like the Tigers, maybe you take their team total. I think flat 4 minus 106 seems a little too good to be true if you ask me. So I might even say this one might just get goofy and there's some mind games going on here, and it stays a 4-3 type game or something like that. So I'm going to go to the under. But at the end of the day, this is not a very confident lean for me anyways in this one. So I'm going to back all the way out of that one for sure. Seattle and Baltimore is the next one up. Near a pick'em. I believe it is a pick'em here. Open minus 115 in Baltimore's favor. Gilbert and Gibson on the mound for these two teams. Gilbert, 5 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs last time, I believe, against my White Sox. Gibson pretty consistently in that 3 earned run range. Hasn't been too sporadic. I think he's been right around that 3 earned run range the last 6 starts or so. But this Mariners team obviously still pretty much hovering right around 500. Win a series, lose a series, that kind of thing. And the Orioles' last 6 have been pretty mediocre as well, 3-3 their last 6. So I do kind of agree with the pick'em a little bit here. As far as the money coming in on this one, another one where the Orioles seems a little goofy that this is a pick'em for the Orioles as a team that's 9 games better than the win column. With a pitcher that's 8-4 with a 3.94 ERA. I like Gilbert a lot in some situations. Another pitcher that I think is not a bad one to pick off some bounce backs and regression starts. And it was pretty steady the last time. Nothing amazing. So I think you could see a regression start from Gibson. Like I said, he's been a little too consistently at that 3 range. So I'm going to go ahead with a Seattle over 4.5 is what I'm going in this one. I think they win this game, but I'll go with some runs here. Would not shock me if Baltimore's offense is good tonight, and that's what got them the win. At the end of the day, though, I am going to lean towards Seattle. Just put up 10 runs yesterday after a couple of really cold days, so maybe they keep that going for a couple days, maybe at 10. But I'm going to go back to the with Seattle today and go over 4.5 as long as you can get some plus money on that one. So that's where I'll go with that one. Mets and the Phillies tonight. Senga and Taijuan Walker. If you haven't been paying attention, Walker's been really, really good these last 3. 1 earned run total over the last 20 innings. That's the last 3 starts for him. Coming into his, I think, second matchup against his former team he spent the last 2 years with. And then Senga, 6 2/3, 4 earned runs last time. Been pretty kind of consistently a little hit or miss there. So nothing crazy. Still trying to get his feet wet a little bit there. Phillies have lost their last 2 after a 6-game winning streak. And this putrid Mets situation, 1-4 last 5. Putrid, given their expectations at least. Still not playing after a little bit of momentum. Another one of these teams that once they get some momentum, they fall right back through the floor. So Walker, 7-3. Both these guys, 7-3, 6-4. Obviously, a lot of people don't care about records, but Walker's starting to pitch a lot better, as I mentioned. But you got a total of 9.5 in this one, with the Phillies team getting the minus 112 favorite spot at home here after opening them. I think an even 110 pick 'em. So this one is goofy. I am going to lean towards the Mets getting this win, getting some of these ugly losses in their rear view, giving some regression to Taijuan Walker there, and putting some runs up on the board there. The 9.5, it's certainly some mind games, unless it's just a straight indication that we're going to get some runs from both these guys here. So making you work for it. I'm not seeing the best odds as far as this. You almost have to go a flat 5 if you're going to the Mets, plus 100 for the team total there. So if you think they're going to score a boatload of runs, if you think you're in for some big Walker regression here against a team that he's been on the last 2 years, and I think he was all right the first time around. So obviously second time around, seeing him could be better for the Mets case here. So I'm going to lead towards the Mets putting up some runs. Maybe you like going the money line a little better, or even the first 5. I just don't know. I just don't quite know what you're going to get out of Senga tonight. So I'm going to lean towards the Mets offense actually coming back to life. And they were good in another team that was good in yesterday's case. They did get the loss 8-10, but they've been a little sporadic offensively. So I'll go with two offensive days in a row getting the win. Or at least getting the team total over a win. I should apologize. I do think they will win, but again, would not surprise me if Senga is a little ugly tonight as well. So Texas and the New York Yankees is one I was interested in as well here. And surprisingly enough, I am seeing, and I think a lot of the a lot of the folk don't appreciate and don't like what they're seeing from Clark Schmidt. A lot of public money on the Texas Rangers tonight against this Yankees team, despite the Yankees as the home team here. Texas starting to play really solid ball again after a little bit of a rough stretch. Handled the Blue Jays last week, handled the White Sox during the week this past week here. Yankees get out of their stretch a little bit, take 2 out of 3 from Seattle, get smoked a little bit yesterday, 2-10. But we're coming in tonight, Dane Dunning versus Clark Schmidt. Dunning has been really solid this year, a guy that was in the White Sox organization, pitched a little bit for them, went over to Texas in the Lance Lynn deal, has probably pitched his best, most consistent stuff to this point that he's had since he's been in Texas. 2.78 ERA, 6-1 record, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs in his last start out. But he has allowed 6 or 7 runs, exactly 6 or 7 runs in each of his last 7 games with a handful of walks coming. So he's done an unbelievable job of getting out of jams. But a Yankees offense that put up 2 yesterday and is chomping at the bit to get back out on their home field. I think the Yankees win tonight, but another one where I think a lot of people are not giving credit to Clark Schmidt. I'm not saying he's good by any means, but I think we could be seeing a bounce back from him. Wouldn't shock me if he's terrible, so I am more interested in the Yankees team total. But at the end of the day, I am really interested in this Yankees offense putting up some runs. Like I said, 2 out of 3. Despite what you saw yesterday on the field, they did take 2 out of 3 from the Mariners. Texas just took 2 out of 3 from both the Blue Jays and the White Sox, as I mentioned. But the biggest thing that I'm looking at here is Dane Dunning regression is what I am predicting out of this one. So you go over to the team total. You might have to, if it's a flat 4, minus 108, don't love it. Would love to get plus money, so maybe you got to get a little more aggressive there. But at the end of the day, I think people are kind of looking at this on the pitching matchup on the surface, maybe a little bit of what the Yankees did yesterday on top of some really solid, especially offensive play from Texas these last week or so. Against the Blue Jays and White Sox there. Now staying on the road, I believe the Yankees will win this game, but I have better feelings about or I'm more confident in their offense putting up some runs here on Dane Dunning. So you will most likely, this is the one where you will see this one in my bet slip. There was another one that I was interested in as well that I mentioned earlier in the show, but this one is one that you will for sure see on my bet slip tonight is the Yankees team total here. Assuming I can get, I might play around with it. Maybe I'll look at the best angle. Even the first 5 team totals, sometimes that one's a little better chance of getting some plus money. So maybe you go over 2.5 if that's what they're giving you in the first 5 at plus money if that's what you have to do. Well, I absolutely am kind of predicting at least 3 runs in the first 5 against Dane Dunning there. So that might be where I go is the first 5 team total. So we could skip past here. Oakland and Toronto. You got Caprillion and Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays. Massive number here. A's back in their wretched losing streak again after the nice fun streak that they had there. Offense has been putrid. Put up 6 runs in 1 out of the 3 games against Cleveland. Aside from that, it's been 2 or less. Pretty consistently for them. Their pitching staff, I think Jeff mentioned it, and I want to say it was with Oakland. Their pitching staff has been better, and even during this losing streak again, they've got them 2 and they had 3 straight losses where they lost 2-3. So their pitching staff has been better. Caprillion coming back does help at their pitching staff a little bit there, but Toronto just took 2 out of 3 to bounce back a little bit against the Miami Marlins on the road. Now coming back, plus a day off, is why you're getting these steep odds, and Bassett's been fairly solid. So. I don't know what to expect out of this one, but I'm not touching this Oakland A's game. I have not been playing anything on these Oakland A's games for the most part there. So staying away from this losing streak train. Once they lose one, maybe you look at losing a second one. But this A's team obviously has been rough lately once again. So Milwaukee and Cleveland is the next one up. Wade Miley, Shane Bieber on the mound for these 2 teams tonight. This is excuse me, I crossed up my notes here. I think this is the second start off of the IL for Wade Miley. Last time out, yes, that's right. I mixed up my note. I typoed on my note here. But last time out, his first start off of the IL, 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs against the Pirates. So very, very good in that first time out. Still probably not getting the full 100 pitches or whatever tonight for Milwaukee in tonight's game. Bieber, I've talked about a lot this year. 7 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 earned runs allowed versus Arizona. His strikeouts are still very sporadic. He still has not quite been, certainly not consistently, has not been himself. Guardians, however, 4-game win streak, 3 of them against Oakland. Brewers just lost a series to the Diamondbacks after a nice little stretch for them. So I think this line is kind of fair. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what the public perception of Shane Bieber is right now. Because again, his numbers aren't, ERA numbers aren't terrible. But at the end of the day, he just hasn't been himself really. So I'm kind of calling this one a buyer beware a little bit. Don't just see Shane Bieber against a Wade Miley that hasn't had too many outings this season. On top of a Cleveland team 4 games in a row. A lot of people obviously wouldn't shock me if Cleveland got on a huge roll. I obviously hope that doesn't happen as a White Sox fan. But at the end of the day, 3 of those were against Oakland, a team that's falling back into a pit of despair. And you got a Milwaukee team that's probably going to be looking for a bounce back after a series loss there. So obviously, Milwaukee's offense is very sporadic, but I wouldn't be cannonballing into the deep end with Cleveland tonight. I'm going to lean towards Milwaukee. Again, not a fan of getting into these starts with pitchers either off an IL or even second start off an IL. Wouldn't surprise me Wade Miley regresses here, but I will lean towards Milwaukee getting the W here tonight and maybe touching up Shane Bieber a little bit. But he has been grinding through these starts quite a bit, and against a team like this Milwaukee team, kind of a team made for him to be grinding through him a little bit there. So we can skip right past that aside from leaning towards Milwaukee. I believe my White Sox and Red Sox are the next one up here. You've got Brian Bello and Lucas Giolito. White Sox open about -115. Now flipping to Red Sox about -115, 116 here. Closer to game time, 3 hours away from game time still, I guess. Jeff, obviously, I know has talked about this as Bello over the last 2 years now finally rounding into form as a really solid pitcher in this Red Sox offense, or pitching staff, excuse me. Obviously need him if they want any chance of playoff push. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run last time versus the Yankees. Lucas Giolito, last handful has been really solid. I think on paper, best pitching numbers on this White Sox staff so far. I think by the end of it, that'll be Dylan Cease like he was, or better than Giolito at this point, and Dylan Cease will put some better numbers up. But at this point, Lucas Giolito has the best numbers in this White Sox pitching staff. Last time out, though, 5 innings, 8 hits, only 2 earned runs, so got out a lot of jams. Red Sox lost their last 2 after a 6-game losing streak, and the White Sox have been going, I believe they've lost 4 straight series, so it's been 2 out of 3, 4 straight times. So they are desperate back at home now, looking to get back into things there. Obviously, fortunately, still very much in the AL Central picture. But again, it's a series that they need to win to end that losing streak of 4 straight series. What you're going to see tonight, I don't know. I would be, as far as Giolito, I'm a little concerned about Giolito tonight, if I'm being honest. I will feel decent about some Bello regression and maybe the White Sox finding a way to put up a few on him. Obviously, as I say, you got to take my word with a grain of salt, but it does look like this Red Sox team is getting a little too much public money here on the road with the young pitcher. So their offense went way down the tank yesterday, 0 runs. 6 allowed. This White Sox team offensively hasn't been terrible, as I mentioned. They've been hitting the ball out of the park. Just need to get some more runners on base here. So I will lean towards the White Sox offense, finding a way to put up some runs. So if that means team total, then that means team total. Not sure what you're going to get out of Giolito. A little concerned with those 8 hits last time out. He has been a guy that doesn't really carry over that last start into the next one, though. So you could see, you might see 5 walks and 2 hits, and he still might be bad. He might be fine. I honestly don't know what to expect out of Giolito tonight, but I will lean towards a nice offensive night from the White Sox. How about that? So only a few more left, I believe. 4 more left. The LA Angels in Colorado tonight. Patrick Sandoval, Kyle Freeland. Don't love these odds. I know a lot of people here at ECSI, myself included, are a big fan of Patrick Sandoval. This season, though, not quite the same as what it was, nowhere near the same as what it was. I won't even be sugarcoat it there. 4.08 ERA and a 4-6 record. However, last time out, much, much better. I believe that it would be his best start of the season last time out. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 4 walks still, and 6 Ks. But obviously 4 hits, no runs. Hits have honestly, the walks, he's had one or two other starts, 3 other starts where the walks have been an issue. But his biggest issue this season has, not been able, he's been giving up a lot of hits in these games. So to see 4 hits is encouraging with 0 runs there. But I'm looking for him to find some consistency. And this number is a little fishy with how ugly Colorado has been playing. On top of Kyle Freeland, 4.48 ERA, 4-8 win-loss record. 9 hits, 7 runs allowed in his last start. So this number is a little wonky. And honestly, I've mentioned that I am a person that's kind of stalking this Colorado team, looking for them to have some momentum at home at the very least. 16-19 at home, not what they've been the last couple of years. Not saying they're going to be 10 games over 500 at home when it's all said and done, but it's a team that's had a lot of success at home in the last couple of years. So whenever you see a funky number for the Colorado Rockies at home, it's at least something to take a little look at there, especially in a guy with, I wouldn't call him a lightning rod, but people still respect Sandoval here. So a little nervous about what the Sandoval and the Angels pitching staff is going to be. A little hesitant with Freeland on the mound, but at the end of the day, this one stinks a little bit to me. And if I'm buying what I was selling within the last month or so about this Rockies team playing a lot better at home, then maybe I'm interested. Obviously, however, this is we are at a losing streak of 8 games. So a lot of times when you see these losing streaks, you see a lot of the odds, kind of just leaning towards maybe being that losing team's number, and they're just setting that there because at some point it's going to end, and they'll be able to take a big majority on the other side. So that's what's kind of keeping me hesitated on this one. Had the Rockies, 1-2 days ago, and now we're staring at this number, I'd probably be all in on them. I'm a little nervous tonight to try and end that streak. However, I am really leaning towards the Rockies tonight at home. With this goofy number and a couple of the other factors mixed in here. Angels obviously playing pretty well as of late. They did just lose 2 games in a row to the LA Dodgers. Offense put up a goose egg in both of those cases, so you could absolutely see a bounce back from them tonight. So this could be low-hanging fruit with Sandoval in this number, so I'm going to stay away from it. But at the end of the day, I will still lean towards this Colorado Rockies team at home finding some success here this weekend and possibly starting tonight. So that's where I'll lean tonight. And if they get that, then maybe they're in for it tomorrow. But I'm circling the wagons on this one. I'm a little hesitant, but it is definitely one that I'm interested in. Washington and San Diego, don't have too much thoughts on this one. You've got Corbin and Musgrove. Musgrove had been really good for a little bit of stretch, a little bit of a regression in some ways. Still ended up getting out of jams. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, only 1 strikeout though. After I think the time before that being a really high strikeout number, so a little bit of a bizarre start for him. Patrick Corbin, big fade guy last year, 6 innings, 11 hits, 4 earned runs. You got a big number here in San Diego. Had been playing better baseball, this San Diego team. But ran into the San Francisco Giant buzzsaw. Won finally yesterday to get that to avoid the 4-game sweep there. But at the end of the day, like I said, in those 3 losses that they had with San Francisco were really competitive games. So a team that's trying to get back into the playoff picture here, had been playing better, it's a good chance that they're going to continue, get back to these winning ways against a team in Washington that we've talked about as a team that is cratering into. Kind of along with Colorado. Obviously, we'll see what Colorado does if they can turn things around with their home success. Kind of falling into that bottom third team there, or at least the last team in the NL there. So, going to stay away from it. Going to lean towards the Padres winning this game. Don't know what to expect or what to see. It wouldn't surprise me if Joe Musgrove regresses. That's why I'm staying far away from it. But I'll lean towards Corbin giving up this offense quite a bit of runs and hits for the San Diego Padres there. Don't quite know what to make out of this Houston and Dodgers game. You got JP France versus Sheehan. This is Sheehan's career start number 2. 6 innings, no hits, no runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. I'll say it again, 6 innings, no hits in his MLB debut. Now making start number 2 against the Astros. France, 6 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs last time. Both these teams 2-game win streak. Astros 2-game win streak after a 5-game losing streak there. So Dodgers minus 145 here tonight. Little goofy. Don't know what to make of these pitchers. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to dive into some just all-out total regression on Sheehan. We've seen a lot of these young rookie guys, major league debut guys, have 2 or 3 starts before they regress. So maybe that's where I'm leaning. So I don't like jumping into matchups where I'm I've got questions for these pitching matchups here. But at the end of the day, the one thing that would lean me towards the Sheehan regression over the other over France here is that this Astros offense just woke up a little bit after their losing streak. 4 runs and then 10 runs scored yesterday. Or 2 days ago. They had a day off. Now they're traveling to LA. But scored 10 runs in that last game there against the Mets with the day off. with a little bit of that, World Series type rivalry here. There might be some juice from both sides here. So this one should be a good one to watch, this young pitching matchup here. And I'll lean towards the Astros, but I'm probably not going to touch it unless I'm, dying for an itch later tonight and wide awake for some West Coast baseball. But end of the day, I probably will not have that one on my card. Last one up is the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Francisco Giants. Davies and Webb for these two squads. Davies has obviously not been quite good to this point. 8 earned runs last time against Cleveland. Webb, 7 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs last time against the Dodgers. So a lot of hits, but got out a lot of jams. Diamondbacks 5-2 in their last 7, and this Giants win streak just ended yesterday. So after a win streak like that, it is fairly commonplace for a team like that to lose a couple in a row. Not suggesting that's definitely going to happen tonight. You've obviously got a situation where Davies has not been very good at all. Certainly not himself and certainly nowhere near competent. 4.09 ERA guy last year, so obviously not lighting the world on fire, but was steady enough. And these last 2, 4 earned runs, 4 earned runs and then 8 earned runs, like I said. So not making it through 4 innings. Got a few outings where he's really not cracking 4 or 5 innings at all there. Had a couple decent ones to start the month of June against Colorado and Washington. So a little nervous against the San Francisco team. But Logan Webb, as I mentioned, last 3 starts, he had been cooking along really well. But last 3 starts, 8, 7, and 8 hits allowed, had been getting out of decent jams. But if that's happening again, this Diamondbacks team at least might put up some runs. So I am going to, if I'm doing anything tonight, it is going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks team total against Logan Webb here. I think in a certain spot you might be able to get the over 3.5 at plus money. But at the end of the day, I could see Logan Webb regressing a little more here. I would feel decent about a Zach Davies positive start, positive regression, bounce back, whatever you want to call it. But it's at a point where I'm kind of waiting for it to happen before I'm interested in Diamondbacks plus 154. As enticing as that sounds, you might have, and at the end of the day, you've got an flat eight as the game total. So there's a little bit of mind games there, but I'll lean on a little bit of Logan Webb regression and go for some Arizona Diamondbacks team total runs in that one. So without further ado, that does it for today's baseball slate. I don't have too much else for you here this afternoon. Thank y'all for stopping by this week. I believe I was on 4 out of 5 days here of the week on the closing bell. Got some fun matchups in UFC tomorrow. Got some exciting action in the golf world the rest of the week. As I mentioned, Keegan Bradley now tied with Denny McCarthy with a couple holes left, so he's playing fantastic today. So a handful of under-the-radar guys, but a lot of big names lurking in the weeds there. Adam Scott, 10 under. Minwoo Lee building off a great week last week, 9 under there. But Rory, Hovland, Sung Jae Im all at 8 under. Justin Thomas finally having a nice weekend, or I should say start to the week at 8 under there. Tied for 10th there. Scotty Scheffler, Tom Kim lurking in the weeds there. Same with Cantlay and Schauffele. So as much as there are some under-the-radar guys that you might not recognize, there are some stars lurking in the weeds here at a course that's obviously giving out a lot of birdies. So could be a really, really fun weekend. This course environment kind of honestly doing a disservice to the U.S. Open, as obviously I still loved the U.S. Open. Had a great time watching it last weekend, but a lot of criticism of the atmosphere there. Tune in to the Travelers Championship, and you'll have that alleviated a little bit, because this is a really good crowd going on there in Connecticut there, Cromwell, Connecticut, at the TPC River Highlands. Yes, I had to read that off to double-check that one. But at the end of the day, it has been a fun tournament. Will continue to be a fun tournament, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And if I've got any thoughts on that one, I will definitely post those out on Twitter this weekend. So thank you all for stopping by. I am going to go ahead and get out of here and grab myself a nice cold drink here to end my weekend. Hope you all are enjoying yourself this weekend, having a responsible and safe weekend. And don't be the pizza man, as we always say. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for commenting. And as always, Connor, hope you have a great weekend as well. And I will see you all later. See you all Monday. Thank you.